never in a million years would we ever think that we have a child that has cancer.
I started like experiencing like pain, like shooting pain in my upper shoulder, and we just thought it was like I just pulled a muscle or something, because that's when golf, like around that time golf was happening. And then it just like continued to get worse. I started walking and I was like losing my balance.
It was confusing because, you're wondering, why the heck is she being so clumsy? And I'm thinking, well, maybe she's taking after me because I'm a little clumsy. But as literally days gone by, she got clumsier and clumsier. And then when she collapsed, totally, that's when I said, okay, this is enough. We ended up going to the ER. They started checking like her reflexes and so forth. And then doctor upon doctor was coming in. We knew right there something was odd. Things weren't making sense on why so many doctors were coming in to see her. It was multiple doctors, and they were doing everything they could to get her in, to get an MRI. We knew something was not right. We weren't sure what. Never in a million years were we prepared for the diagnosis that she had. And that was when we came back to give us the results of the MRI and said that she had a large mass. The doctor that they brought in was an oncologist. Just the word oncology. I knew instantly that it was not good news, but I don't think it registered for her.
What is going through your mind, Kim, when you hear the word cancer?
Oh, I was devastated. It was like somebody took a
Knife to the chest.
Yeah. It was hard. Still is.
I can see that this brings back a ton of emotion. If you can sit in that space for a moment for me, Kim, what was it that was so hard?
You think the worst. You try to think, what are the next steps, and you try to stay positive for your child, and try to understand that you have to take one day at a time.
Payton, what emotions do you remember feeling when you heard the word cancer?
I like just broke down right in that moment. It was like, of course, the first thing I worried about was my hair, which, I mean, is the last thing I should have been worrying about. I never fully understood like a child having cancer, because like I've never like seen or like known anyone that actually had cancer as a child. There was that fear of like, I'm alone.
Kim, what was the diagnosis?
So her diagnosis is Ewing's sarcoma. It's a very rare cancer. At the time that we were told about the cancer, there was only 300 to 400 patients that get diagnosed with this throughout the world. So it's one of the very rare cancers. And what we know today is that her type of Ewing's is one of the rarer types within the Ewing sarcoma family. Because of where the tumor was located, it was wrapped around her spinal column, on the upper part of her spinal column. And so they had to remove a portion of it, because if they didn't, she was going to lose her ability to walk. She underwent a 7-hour surgery. And then roughly about a week or so later, she ended up having to start chemotherapy as well. January 31st, Payton would start her first chemo, and for the next 11 months, Payton would get 14 rounds of chemotherapy. After the 6th treatment, she would receive 27 rounds of radiation. Each treatment Payton received became harder and harder on her system. She wouldn't eat when she would be an inpatient during treatment. Nausea was too overwhelming. Payton not only lost her hair, she lost 20 pounds and began having heart issues. On her 16th birthday, she was inpatient for an infection, and she had to have a feeding tube put in. During the 11 months of treatment, Payton spent over 6 months of those 11 in the hospital. Chemotherapy, radiation, loss of hair, feeding tube, over 15 infections, getting typhlitis, which is an inflammation of the large intestine and extremely painful, over 40 blood transfusions, over 30 platelet transfusions, and being airlifted from Wapaka when we would try to take a weekend camping trip for some normalcy.
It was pretty hard because all I could do was lay in bed. Like a lot of other people on the unit would like go socialize, and there was like a teen room that we could like all hang out in. But, like I would just lay in bed all day and sleep for 20 out of 24 hours of the day.
What type of support did you receive from your community, from your friends that helped you get through that really challenging time?
Out of all the hardship Payton was enduring, we were surrounded by our amazing family and community that reached out to our family to get through this. Close friends of ours set up through Take a Meal to us with meals to go and a GoFundMe page. There were benefits to help us with medical bills, like Payton's high school golf team did a Swinging for Payton outing, and family and friends organized a Pedaling for Payton fundraiser to help us also with medical bills. We had donations, cards, gifts, and prayers coming from all over the world. The random acts of kindness were so overwhelming and so much appreciated.
What emotions you were feeling when you got the news that the cancer was in remission?
It's excitement. We're so happy that she was getting done with treatment and she didn't have to go through that chemo. And so when she was nearing the end of treatment, it was knowing that, okay, hopefully things can get back to normal, but you always have the 3-month scan in hopes that when we get that next scan that it's clear.
What happened in February of this past year?
The odd part is that in January, she had just had her scans and they were all clear. And when I told them that she was starting to have pain again, they said, well, why don't you come on in and let's take a look. They said that there's nothing specific that we see that is causing issues. Let's wait one more week. It continued to get worse and she started to experience pain in her hip. And so when it continued to get worse and worse, I finally pushed for a scan of her whole upper body, and that's when they discovered the mass.
Payton, what emotions did you experience when you found out the cancer was back?
Frustration, because we could have slowed down the cancer spreading throughout my body. And then it was just that sadness, like, oh, I have to do this again. I have to fight this again.
How do you approach each day now?
As positive as it can be.
Our motto has really been taking one day at a time, because if we look too far in the future, then it's a lot of guessing and you go through this emotional roller coaster.
If you were talking to people who wanted to know how they could help or things that they could do for you or kids like you, what would you tell them? What would you say?
I would ask them to help support local fundraisers that support childhood cancer. If it's not helping me, I know it'll help other people, and that just makes me really happy knowing that they're supported and they're not alone in this.
We can't thank the Vincent Lombardi Cancer Foundation enough for supporting the Star Children's Fund for pediatric cancer. As you can see, we need more research to develop better medications for our children to increase survivor rates and reduce long-term effects.
We really admire your strength and your perseverance and your attitude. I think that's incredible, and that's going to take you a really long way. So thank you for sharing your story with us.
Thank you for letting me share it.
I hope you never have to hear the words, your child has cancer. I hope you never have to hear the prognosis is not good. I hope you never have to prepare your child to undergo radiation or chemotherapy, have a port surgically inserted into their chest, and be connected to IV poles. I hope you never have to look at your child with fear in their eyes and have them say, don't worry, mommy, everything will be okay. I hope you never have to hold your child as they vomit green bile. I hope you never have to feed them ice chips for lunch. I hope you never have to watch the cure you pray for slowly take away their identity as they lose their hair, become skeletal, swell up from steroids, develop severe acne, become barely or unable to walk or move, and look at you with hope in their eyes and say, it's going to be okay, mommy. I hope that you never have to stay in the hospital for weeks, months, or years at a time, where there's no privacy, sleeping on a slab with your face to the wall, where you cry in muffled silence. I hope you never have to see another mother alone, huddled in a dark hospital corridor, crying quietly after just being told there's nothing more that we can do. I hope you never have to watch a family wander aimlessly minutes after their child's body has been removed. I hope you never have to use every bit of energy you have left with all of this going on around you to remain positive, and the feelings of guilt, sorrow, hope, and fear overwhelm you. I hope you never have to see a child's head bolted to the table as they receive radiation. I hope you never have to take your child home, grateful but so afraid, in a wheelchair because the chemo and the radiation has damaged their muscles. 35 pounds lighter, pale, bald, and scared. And they look at you with faith in their eyes saying, "It's going to be okay, Mommy." I hope you never have to face the few friends that have stuck beside you and hear them say, "Thank God it's over with," because you know it never will be. Your life becomes a whirl of doctors, blood tests, MRIs, and you try to get your life back to normal while living in a mind-numbing fear that any one of these tests could result in hearing the dreaded words, "The cancer has returned. The tumor is growing." I hope you never have to experience any of these things, because only then will you understand.